Hello, everyone in the internet, interwebs. We're here for my birthday.
Yay!
And yes,
Lots of lemonades for everybody. Like, Trent's paying.
you know what? First round's on me. But yes, this morning we're covering It Follows with our special guest will be Callie Ott when she gets on here. And yeah.
Yeah, no, 2022 is happening left and right, y'all. So like
Right. But yeah.
She'll be here soon. But how is your birthday weekend so far, Trent?
It's been really busy but fun. Yesterday, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I didn't tweet about all of them. I kind of got too drunk and stopped.
That sounds right, yeah.
But I watched all of the Scream movies yesterday, which I loved. And and then Friday I had family stuff, but I'm excited to be here today. We're going to be doing 3 movies. We're doing It Follows this morning at 11. And then we're doing Gajayam. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Anyone in Korea, if you're watching this right now, which would be, I don't know what time it is there. So if you are, thank you.
Listen.
Let me know how
viewers like you make this possible.
But yeah, so and then this evening we're doing Pet Sematary, the original, not the remake, the original.
So a fun and whimsical day is what you've
very eclectic day. Yes. So I'm going to message Callie just to make sure she knows.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is your strongest lineup because you've picked a lot of things in these almost 2 years.
I like to keep people on their toes.
I am not mad at this one. Like, I feel like if people didn't know us, they wouldn't know that, like, they should be surprised that this was a you schedule. Because when I got it, I was like, oh, these are movies I like. These are movies I want to see. Because if y'all remember last year.
Callie's having technical difficulties. She just emailed us and said, I think I'm logged in, LOL. I bet she's on Google. Hold on.
Yeah, she had to go on the Chrome. But yeah, I was very proud of this lineup because it was not what we did last year. For sure.
That was a choice.
I am still traumatized by what happened last year. I don't know if I could have come back for more of that.
I bet she's on Google Hangouts. I bet that's what she did instead of StreamYard. I should have told her. My bad.
I mean, it's on the docs and things, but it's fine. We're moving on because we're drinking and it's
our
birthday.
Yes, it's my birthday. And yeah, so I'm excited to get into these 3 films. Let's see if she gets on here in the next couple minutes before we really get into this movie. Because I know Callie, one of the reasons I picked this movie is because if y'all remember, back in the day, like 30 billion years ago, when we started this podcast, 30 billion 2020s ago, we interviewed Callie about her role on What the Fuck. And
that's the name of the movie, y'all. Not just like Trent, like forgetting the title. WTF.
And she mentioned that she loves this movie, and I love this movie. And so I was excited to be able to have her on and discuss this movie with us.
At that time, I had not seen this movie, so I didn't understand. I've seen it twice now. And yeah, no, she's terrifying. She's terrifying.
It's good. It's good.
But also, if you've not seen WTF, she's usually the same price to buy as to rent. And our good friend Callie is there as the lead, and there's a penis mutilation. So, like, if you got those $6, it's a family night. What?
You know how much we love that.
I live. I'm just like, is that a penis? What we gonna do with it? There's a movie on Shudder right now. I don't want to give it away, but I like to call it the Play-Doh Fun Factory. Because what they do with that, and if those friends are listening, then they know because I called it that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I was like, have I seen this movie? Oh yeah, I have.
We all see this movie. Oh.
Yes, I even made my friend watch that movie, and she was like, "Trent, what did you make me watch?" I was like,
"Listen,
you're welcome."
She's welcome.
Oh, but yeah, Sharai, how's your weekend going?
It's fine. Our apartment's disgusting. I'm in Minnesota, and they've not turned the air on in our building, which I don't understand how and why as adults we don't get to control our own heating and air. but there's a switch that we have to flip in the closet when they tell us to, and then the air will magically appear, and then we can control the air. But until then, we get nothing or we get heat. And so I've been in my room naked for days. I put a t-shirt for this. Speaking of, haha, it arrived.
Angoria,
Yay!
yes.
Yay! It's their new trans pride shirt. And all the money is going to great cause. So if you have the extra coins, do that because you get a t-shirt and a feeling of doing something right in the shitty world. Yeah.
Girl,
that's the commercial nobody asked for. Me throwing my boobs at the screen and being like, do the right thing.
If that's not the energy this world needs, I don't know what it is.
No, that's why we can't find networks, Trent. Because I'm like on my toes thinking like that. Oh. Who don't want this mess? But yeah, I guess we can start talking about the movie and we will just get to Callie when she pops in.
Yeah, I just sent her a Facebook message too, just to cover both bases. But anyways, okay, so let's get into It Follows. I really like the idea behind this movie. I think it's got some holes, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I've spoken about my love for this movie on the show before, but so you haven't. You're just now a newcomer.
The first time I watched this, it was like, I think it was during the Horror Queers, not Advent calendar. So we're watching like different scary movies every day of the week. And I watched this under my weighted blanket on Clubhouse with Janie from Bloody Broads and Jazz from Girl That's Scary. And they had seen it and I had not. And I was just not okay. I was very unsettled, especially as someone who was homeschooled. And of course, after leaving homeschool, I had to have a rotation because like, that's what you do when you like hide your kids away, they overreact. And so had I seen this in a formative age, it would have done everything my parents wanted to do, as opposed to the opposite.
This is the perfect scared straight movie. Like,
listen, because it could never be me. I would join a convent immediately. I would be 100%. Like, what happened?
Well, I mean, even from the beginning, this movie jumps off. And like, just it never stops. Like it's past our magical time because 90 minutes is the perfect time, movie time. It's about 10 minutes over that, 10, 15 minutes over that, and every shot is needed and worth it.
I also love the opening because one of the things that I've noticed. Ooh, Callie's here. Hello, hi.
Oh my gosh, I'm happy it worked. I was like, oh shit, Google Chrome. I've downloaded it so many times and I've deleted it so many times. Google Chrome 5, and I'm like, oh my god.
Same.
That's like me and Uber Eats. We just like break up to make up. Where else am I gonna go?
It's like me and Grindr. Let's be real.
Listen.
Should I get headphones?
You're fine.
You're fine.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Happy birthday, Trent.
Thank you.
Gosh, 33?
33.
Welcome to the club. Just so you guys can see.
I love it. We were just talking about how much. So I watched this movie a long time ago when it first came out. Sharai just watched this movie. And I was saying I picked it because when we interviewed you about What the Fuck, you mentioned how much you love this movie. And I was like, oh, yeah, something we can talk about.
Yes.
That we all love.
Oh my gosh. I saw it at the, I think it was like, was it released in 2015? I
think
that's math. I think
so. I saw it at the ArcLight like the opening weekend, and there was like a Q&A with David Robert Mitchell and like Mike Monroe, and I was just like, "What is this? This is so cool!"
Right?
Yeah,
like, it's an experience. Like the way the cinematography, first off, art. It's a vibe, and it's a scary vibe because like I was telling Trent, like I was homeschooled, and so like of course I overreacted when I escaped, and I would have like slowed my roll had I seen this. I would not have been doing what I was doing out there. I would have been like, oh no, I'm traumatized. Let me go to the convent. What is it? What?
Oh, man.
Yeah. One of the things when I first saw this movie that I was a little confused about was when is the film set, because like there are so like very specific things that make me think a billion different things, and when I looked it up, that's like intentional. They want it to be from every time and no time. So like when she's looking at that weird I want one of those Yeah, the book thing, or that looks like a shell. I want one of those so bad.
Aside from the cell phones, I would not even pretend to understand what decade it could be. And I kind of like that. Like, I know it drove me crazy. It drove me wild. I'm learning. It drove me wild when I was watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Because I'm like, when is it? When is it? But then I'm like, it's fine. It's a vibe. It's a ride. I can calm it down. Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think that kind of helps it age well.
Mhm.
Like, because they didn't set it specifically in like 2014 or whenever they filmed it. And I do remember mentioning that at the Q&A, like the director was like, yeah, that was like very intentional. And I love like the old TVs and like the black and white
Mhm.
and the old
And the weird like 70s wallpaper, like, you know.
right. Oh,
I love it because, like, one of the things I'm always accused of, rightfully so, is that, like, my jokes are very in the moment when I'm a writer. And it's like, how's this going to age? I'm like, I don't know. I hope people still know what Insecure is if it ever gets produced. How about you produce it now? Whereas this is like, anytime, anywhere.
right. Oh my gosh, same. I get scared when I'm writing stuff too, where I'm like, oh no, I don't know if this is going to age well. Like, I don't want to be one of those people who
Listen,
now.
Look,
Yeah.
I
Well, I
only
think-
make pop culture references, and so it's hard because they're just like,
Yeah.
well, that show went sideways and half the cast is canceled, and I'm like, you're right.
Here we are. We live and we learn, like Alanis
Listen.
taught us.
Right?
This is kind of connected, but my boyfriend, we watched Station 11, and actually, what's his name? The guy who plays Greg in It Follows is in Station 11, which is like a cool connection. But he was listening to a podcast that was saying like how now millennials are like coming into power, kind of like they're the ones that are creating a lot of content. So now there's a lot of like millennial references to things of like our childhood, us like growing up and stuff like that. So I do find that like kind of cool. And I'm like, oh, that's why I like really like
It's our time.
right now.
No. Which I think is cool because like Nickelodeon was like really a thing when we were kids, and Nick at Night was there, and it was right. It wasn't doing things that ended 5 years ago.
Right.
And so like I don't want to be that person because it makes me feel like I'm an old person complaining, but I think that we had it really good as far as pop culture goes.
Yeah.
Like all the other
Agreed.
problems as usual, but as far as
Well.
pop culture goes, we excelled.
I agree. I totally
And I do think that there's a place for everything. You know, there is a place for those, like we always talk about on the show, that it feels like a time capsule of a film. Like Scream is the mid 90s. Like
Right.
you watch that movie and it is like I got teleported back. But like this one is very universal because I also think it deals with themes that are very universal, you know, like consent,
right.
sex,
Yeah.
coming of age, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I think those are themes that will always be around, you know, and talk about.
A huge theme that I think went over my head the first time I watched it, and even like the second time I watched it, I was like, huh, okay. And then I rewatched it yesterday, and I was chatting with a friend, and he was like, oh, that's like one of my favorite movies. Like I love the concept. And they said, they were like, oh, I love that. Sorry, I'm just gonna read this so I don't mess it up. The sexually transmitted curse is the awareness of death. You're breeding your replacement, the knowledge of your own mortality, which I think like at first I was kind of like, like I didn't really get that. But when I rewatched it yesterday, I did like, you know, the ending monologue where the chick is reading, she's like reading the last part about like the wound, like when there's torture, there's pain and wounds, physical agony, and all this distracts the mind from the mental suffering, so that one is tormented only by the wounds until the moment of death. And then it's just talking about like the minute, the second, like your soul will leave your body. You'll no longer be a person, and that is certain. And the worst thing is that it is certain. And I was like, okay, that is like some deep shit.
It's very much like a loss of innocence situation because like I don't know Jay's life, but I don't feel like she was out here living her best life. And so I feel like this boy might have been one of the first. I'm not saying the first, but one of the first.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And how many of us fall in those traps at those ages where we're just like, I want him to like me, so I'm gonna do this and see what happens.
Oh.
And it's another reason why this movie sends me, because I can't imagine having mediocre car sex and then being hunted by demons.
She must be flexible to be able to get in that car like that, because like, and be able to like get it in. Like, I don't. Granted, I'm not a woman, so I don't know these things. I'm coming at it from a male's perspective.
But you have a skeleton, Trent. You understand logistics.
She must have been very flexible, and he must
I
have
think
been
for me,
fairly
like
large.
I didn't need any moaning or like, but I couldn't tell, like, did he just come or did she finish? Probably not.
No one was happy.
Nobody was.
At that,
She was playing with the weeds outside the car, talking about what she thought sex would be, and he was like, "Do I still see demons?" And I was like, "What? What is this?
One thing I do want to mention though is the score is so effective in this movie. I don't think I've ever heard anything that made me so uncomfortable, but was also so beautiful.
The score was tag teaming that sense of dread you have the whole movie, because like on paper, if I explain the scares to people, they're like, "What?" But like if you see it, you're like, "This tall man came out of where?" No. Like,
yeah, and I love that it like really, the score like really hits you right out the gate, like right in that opening scene, and yeah, like I'm just like, oh shit.
She's running in them heels, them stilettos. I'm like, girl, take your shoes off.
I know, and I think a lot of people were pissed about that because they're like, why would she be running in like red pumps? Like, it doesn't make sense. But like a huge part of me is like, yeah, but like as a director and a cinematographer, like how freaking dope is that? Like that opening image of her like mutilated and her like red pump, like, you know, over that way. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm all for it.
And another thing is we don't know what she was doing when it showed up this time. That's true. So maybe she was like, I'm gonna go do this thing, this party, and she's like, oh no, the demons are here, and she took off. Which we need more people to just start running, because we never have that, which is why I love this beginning, because I don't know what she's running from, but I'm with her, and I'm like, we get away from it, we gotta go.
Right, you know, if she's running in heels, it's something bad.
Yeah. Listen. If you see me click-clacking down the street, you know something that popped off, Trent. Like, I don't run. I don't wear heels. But if that's what has to happen for me to get away from whatever's chasing me, we should all be running. Like,
if you see me click-clacking.
Right? It's just like, she's going to hurt herself or whatever this catches her. And I'm like, you damn right I am. Like,
oh, yes.
I love that. And I love how, I don't know, I just feel like it's a really creative way to start a movie. And like this director, David Robert Mitchell, I feel like he's such a creative guy. Like I'm really on board. And you know, like when she's like tied up in the wheelchair and like, I don't know, it looked kind of like an abandoned asylum or something. Like I was just like, what an interesting way to make this, like, to have this be a situation. That's terrifying.
Because you're also like, is he helping her, or is he trapped her, or is he going to kill her? I don't know.
A while until he like starts rolling the chair away. Like the woman's walking, and I'm like, yo, you got to get out of there.
The whole sex in the car and the aftermath immediately makes me regret ever like pissing on the people whose parents' basements I saw in my day, because I'm just like, you know what, it could have been worse. I'm gonna unblock some people because like I can't imagine being like, that was a thing that happened. I'm playing with weeds and I'm chloroformed. Now I'm in a wheelchair in what seems to be something Lara Croft abandoned in a Tomb Raider movie, and you're showing me demons.
Is walking to me. Yeah, I do want to mention that I did love in this film that the sex and the like all the nudity are not like sexy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
One of my biggest pet peeves in horror, and I watch a lot of horror, obviously, is that it's always told for the male gaze. Because, like, I don't care if people want to get naked. If people want to get naked, fine. Make it part of the story. Don't just be like, well, we have this actor, and I want to see her naked, so let's do this. Right. It was all gross here. There was never a moment where it's like, oh, that's sexy. I was always like, oh, no, they're having sex to maybe pass this demon on and live. They're having sex because they're desperate. Like, even the, like, half-naked woman in the kitchen, she's clearly not a person. She's got, like, the one sad boob out, and she's like, we're going to do this. And it is not for, ooh, I'm getting my kicks on this one, unless that's what you're into, in which case I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like, she's, like, pissing her skirt. Like, I was just like, oh, I forgot. I think I mentally blocked this out. Like, I rewatched it, and I was like, Jesus. And then also, like, the mom, like, on her son, like, and the... the cum I was just like, oh, this is not hot.
I've been on a mom horror kick lately because I don't want to unpack some stuff, and that was too far.
It was way too far.
I'm done with the mom horror. I'm moving on to somebody else. What do we got for sisters, cousins? I don't know.
So I love the concept of this monster or this demon. My only question is it just penis vagina sex? Because if so, I'm safe. Deuces.
That's my hot take, but as usual, I'll spoil it. My only real issue with this movie is that it is aggressively white and hetero.
Right.
And so I'm like, what would it look like if we didn't do that? Because that's always the default. But aside from that, I have no complaints.
But like, what if you got a handy? Would that count? Am I now being or a blowjob? What about that?
There are many ways to have sex, and so I need to know. I need to know what is allowed and what is not allowed. Because, like, again, I was homeschooled, so I was always like, I don't know. My mom had like 90 fucking kids, but like, what happens if you take a pill and like wear a condom? I don't know. And like, when you get older, you're like, you can catch a baby even when you're on your shit. Like, it happens to people all the time.
Right.
And the demons, I guess, are worse than babies. Yes, I guess, maybe. But like, it's still in my brain. I'm just like, oh no.
Right. I love that we're talking about this because like, back in 2015, didn't even occur to me like that it's so heteronormative. And I'm, and now I'm like, man, like there was a really great opportunity there to like, and also it is like all white people. Like there was like one black woman, like with the groceries, like at the car, and I'm like, fuck.
And it's in Michigan. I know there's white people in Michigan.
Detroit. Like,
listen. If Detroit doesn't have people of color, who does? No, you can't find one. And also, it wouldn't have been great, but you have all these demons haunting this girl, and not any of them are of color. Even the demons. Supernatural gave us that much. They were like, here's a couple of brown demons, and now back to what we're doing. And they were like, no, we have a vision. And I'm like, why are you and Timmy Burton ruining everything for me?
Man, it's so messed up. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense either. Like I said, they're in Detroit, and it's not like they're in like the affluent parts of Detroit. They go to like
they're like, oh, we're going past 8 Mile, like
Eminem's over there. See him?
No, Eminem talked about being the only white person in his friend groups, and you're telling me you can't find any brown people in Detroit? If Eminem can find us, you can too.
Damn. Oh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the one critique, because like everything else I'm fine with, because they built this world, they've established it.
Right.
And like, not to keep going back to the beginning, but like usually in a movie, the first 10, 20 pages, you're like, we can get rid of that. For this one though, I really like it because it sets that tone of dread. And so like, whatever's coming is bad. It's going to be fucked up. And you see this girl getting bent up on the phone after calling her parents, like, I love you, I'm sorry. Oh. And so like, this is one of the few openings where I'm like, leave this. Because one of the things they teach you as a writer, and it's one of the things that are actually true, sadly, because I like to disagree with them, but is that like your first 10, 20 pages are usually you just being like, I'm figuring it out. Which like we play on our phones. Like if you think about it, when you're in a movie, you play on your phone for the first 10, 20 minutes, and then you're like, oh, we're here now, okay, and you put it away.
Yeah.
This movie's like, hi, we're gonna scare you.
Well, and there's a lot of shots of movement that happens, especially when they're traveling. Right. And usually I could have been like, that could have been gone. But this time I think we needed it to know, oh, they're going a far away to get away from this thing. So it has a lot of play, because that thing's only walking behind you. So if you drive 30,000 miles, I don't know how long that is, but then that's got to walk 30,000 miles. You got a couple days.
I love, yes, the whole like the like camera pans too, like when they're going to the school to like find out the Q is actually Jeff or whatever, and like the camera pan, you're like, am I gonna see this like crazy demon come out? Like, am I gonna see this like sexually transmitted guy, like slowly walking? And then you don't, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm all for like being on edge, waiting for it to happen. So yeah, I do like that. I love all the like shots of them driving. Again, they're like driving in Michigan, like all these broken down houses. It's like, come on, like I know you only have white, like come on.
Right? Like, at that point, it's a choice. Like at that point, it's a choice because you were like, I'm picking Detroit, Michigan, knowing full well when I turn on the news, I only see black activists talking about how we need water too. You're like, no. I couldn't find any. I don't know anybody. There is no good excuse to have an all-white movie, especially an all-white straight movie. Like if you're gonna piss on one, at least give the other one something to hold on to.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I have nothing else to say because I completely agree with that, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And now it's our responsibility as filmmakers in 2022 to be doing our job and like having actual representation of people who would live in Detroit, Michigan.
Listen. Like it's always funny because people go to these places like New Orleans, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, you couldn't find any. You found nobody not in New Orleans.
Not one.
What part were you in?
Right? I mean,
what neighborhood?
Even on the SAG, like the numbers or whatever, like they showed that like we're still lacking so much representation in TV and film, and it's like, come on, guys, like let's get it together.
Right.
And it's ridiculous because when we do get somebody of color doing anything, like the numbers are ridiculous. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Shang-Chi, like people show up, and I'm just like, do you not want this money? Why don't you want this money?
Yeah. Oh my God, totally.
Right. Well, and you get the problem of like, would they only allow like one person or like a Jordan Peele to do it? Then you have the problem of, well, Jordan Peele is not going to be perfect every single time he goes to bat. Close, probably, but there's going to be one or two things that it's going to be like, Jordan, honey, we got to have a talk.
Yeah.
And then, but then it's like, well, I guess black people can't make horror movies. Well, darn,
Meanwhile, DC's over there fucking it up. Like, they are just failing left and right, and they're making movies every other day. I can't get a break because I might fuck up. And I'm just like, you know what I wouldn't do with Wonder Woman? Make it about Steve.
100%.
But here's my feels.
I will say, even though the lead actress, she is white, but she is so freaking good. Like, I'm so inspired by Micah Monroe. Like I remember watching it and just being like, oh my God, like I want to be incredible like her. Like how does she tap into like those emotions and that vulnerability? Because like, when you're making a movie, it can be really difficult. Like she makes it look easy and it's not.
Yeah. And I'm curious what you guys felt about this, because there were a couple times in the acting, I felt like some of the pacing of the dialogue could have been picked up just a tiny bit, but most of the time it felt natural to me, especially the scene between her and the boy who's had the crush on her friend, the first kiss boy. I can't think of his name right now. That scene was so cute, and it made me really care for the actors, and I was like, little sweet thing.
Her and Paul have a cute history, but also I'm like, Paul, she's got demons. Now is not the time to profess your love for her. You might want to go ahead and let this be the last straw, actually. But you know what? Live your truth. Live your best life. If you're like, we can make it work with your demons, who am I?
This was happening a lot.
That's true love. No, I'm just kidding.
It'd never be me. I'd be like, you see what coming for you? Like, he got kicked halfway across the beach by something he couldn't even see. And he's like, no, we're going to do this.
I want to know how they did that scene where she gets her hair, like, pulled up, and then she's like, I want to know.
I just foresee an actor in head to toe green that is not breathing on a beach being like, for the art.
His name is what's his name? Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's an Atypical. I love that show.
Right.
For some reason, I know this was not the intention, but for me personally, I was like, you trying to act like the nice guy, like you want to save her, but really you just want to fuck her. Like,
yeah, he did have a little nice guy energy.
Like, I was like, I don't want any of this. Like, what are your intentions? Like, do you just really want to just have sex with her, or do you actually?
Right? Because he's grown up being like, ooh, this is the girl I need to see naked. This is the girl I have to crush on. I've got a fetish. And I just saw Teeth recently for the first time, so that's in my brain. And I'm like, that turned sideways for her. So like, who is Paul? What is Paul really about?
Right.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
point.
Yeah.
Especially the scene where he's like, why did you choose him to have sex with and not me? And it was like,
I know, and I'm like, this chick is traumatized. Like, come on. Like, she just like didn't she just die after he says that? Like, Drake just got murdered by the demon.
got hopped on by his mama.
This stuff. Why'd you have sex with him and not me?
There was the most white man energy to come out of this movie at me, because he was just like, I see our friend is dead because you slept with him, and I was right here waiting for you the whole time. And I'm like, good sir. Do you think it's that good? It's worth dying for?
Right.
Especially the hospital bed.
Are these teenage? Like, are they in college? Are they in college?
I think she's in college.
Okay.
The first boy is in college. I don't know anybody else, because I couldn't tell the first time I watched it who all was related and who all was friends, because they seemed to be like in the 70s but teens.
Yeah.
And then her boyfriend was 21, and I was like, I mean, I don't know her life. But then like everybody else seemed very young, so I don't know where it starts and ends.
Yeah, when she was in class, when she saw that old lady coming across the yard, I thought that felt like a college campus to me.
Right. It felt like a college classroom. There was like no kind of posters or anything up. It was very surprising.
And she gets up and just leaves, and that woman's like, excuse me. It's like, I got demons, I gotta go.
Where do you even begin to explain that situation to somebody?
Well, you see, I had sex last night. Now I got this old lady following me, and I gotta go.
Well, right? and I think too that, like, you know, obviously her friends and her mom are probably just like, she's gone through some crazy shit. Like, this guy tied her up, like, had sex with her, chloroformed her, tied her up in a wheelchair. Like, you know, she's experiencing trauma. Like, it's
left her the road.
Like,
just like literally in her underwear. He dropped her. He dropped her off in the middle of the street, like, Shipt does my groceries now. They're just like, do you want these? And I'm like, bitches, I'm tipping you. And they're like, I'm busy. I can't find parking. Oh, no. I'm like, what is happening? And then he drove the fuck off. I was like, good sir.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. At least feel like semi-gentleman, like, I don't know.
Right? No, I was just like, this is all traumatic. I really do feel like I feel like this is the only movie where I can see people like bending it for abstinence only, and I'd be like, I see what you're doing, and it's fucked up, but also I see what you're doing.
No, I'm like, let's just show this as sex education, like, in, you know,
listen,
grade.
I would have shut it all down. Yeah. I would have shut it all down. I would have been in a rush to do nothing. My 20s would have been different. Maybe I would have focused more on my goals. Like, I don't know.
And maybe, like, can they not spread the disease if they wear condoms? I mean, that was never like fully explained, but
yeah.
I mean, if they would have worn condoms, would they have not passed the sexually transmitted curse?
That's a good point, because like I assume that there was no protection for all three of the people we saw her sleep with in this movie.
Right.
But also I guess that they're like demons, STIs. So maybe
yeah. Sorry, Trent, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna talk about going back to what you were saying earlier, Callie, about the whole idea of like passing on life and that being your seeing your own death coming, essentially. It's really interesting how they use parents as well, because like we were talking about, the dude's mom is the one that like hops on him like a monkey, and then at the end, the girl, it's her dad, her naked dead dad is the one that's trying to kill her or watching her from the roof. It was like, this actor, you have to, dude, we need you to take some pictures, and then you got to stand naked on a roof.
I'm sure they did it for like the low budget SAG rate of $120 back in the day.
I would be there too for that price, because times are hard. No, but I can't imagine seeing my dead naked dad on my house. I would never go back to that house. I would leave this town. I'd be like, you know what? I tried. That's too far. That's too fucked up for me. I'm gonna try California and then beyond. I'm a traveler now.
Yeah. Alaska.
Listen.
Can they get me there?
That demon would have to have some frequent flyer miles to catch my ass, because Once you bring up dead parents naked, we've gone too far. We can't talk. We can't figure this out.
That is the one good thing about this demon curse is that you just have an excuse to travel more.
Listen.
Spend a month in France. Then we can spend a few months in China.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, let's get Leo on this. Catch me if you can, you know? Like,
literally, I would be a travel blogger tomorrow. It'd be like, what happened? It's like, I got demons. Here's what it's like in Paris.
www.igotdemons.com.
Listen.
Yeah. Well, death is just around the corner, so.
Right. And I do know, I didn't look this up, and I wish I did. I do know that each of the ghosts or demons that they see, the incarnations of it, are specifically connected to that character. Like the girl's dad is, and then I think the old lady is supposed to be like her grandparent who passed away because she's carrying that IV bag.
He does say sometimes the people you love. And so I think that they incorporate some of those into like the rotation.
Then previous victims too. Because I think that one, the one with the booby out, I think she might have been the woman from the beginning. Because she's all wet.
Like car sex. Yeah, I think. And the tall man probably got creative and also bit it. Yeah. No, but I just... I also love the convention.
Yourself. Does masturbation count?
Depends on which
religion,
like 2 demons
now.
Some religions say yeah, and some say that's a personal problem.
I don't know.
Get this filmmaker on the phone right now. We got questions. I gotta know. I gotta keep myself safe.
But I love that it's different people and it's cycling through them because, like at the beach, when it's different people, I don't question it. They established that convention. It could be so many different people, and it's like whatever it needs at the moment. And so I wasn't like, oh no, the dude left, so he's got to use this girl now.
Right. When they're all in the circle on that like soccer field, it looks like, and that girl was walking up to them, and the dude is like, do you see her? I would have been the same way. I would have been so paranoid. Everybody then walking towards me and be like.
He waited till to say anything because I saw her and I was like, we should be running. And he was like, y'all see her? And I was like, you've lived with this demon for how long and you're this calm about it?
Yeah, I would see every person walking. I'd be like,
I would never be alone.
Our meeting would have been in motion. I'd be power walking and being like, no, here's what I said to her. Here's what she should have been doing. Like, I don't know what you all are.
That's true. We would all be in better shape because we'd just be walking everywhere. We couldn't stay still for very long.
Listen, I would be in the best shape of my life. I would be an athlete. I would find bones I have buried under fat decades ago.
So really, this demon is like a personal fitness trainer.
I think it is. It is.
That's the sequel.
Listen.
It follows to the Jenny Craig episode.
No, it follows you around the racetrack. Because I just like, I'm like one of those old ladies who picked up jogging late in life, and they have like little bitty weights, and it's like, no, this is fine, this is normal, and it's like, Grandma, stop! I'm like, no, I can't.
You don't understand. Like, what happens if you get pregnant?
Oh,
does your child get chased by the demon too?
If I pick up a demon and a baby, I'm setting somebody on fire.
Questions.
That's actually a good way. That's a good question.
Yeah. Or like, what if you got herpes and a demon? Like, that just sucks.
That's mean. You got to pick or choose. Like,
right.
You give me something we can solve with science, or you give me something that like is out of my hands.
That was the real boom of HPV. Like, just everybody, everywhere getting it and not knowing that they have it, and just being like, I don't know. I didn't know.
Listen. I remember when you had to get those shots of 3, because it was the first time I had to get 3 shots. Right? Because I had to get mine. Oh my God. I had to get mine from the chair of our department's wife, who was the nurse across the street from the theater department. So I went for my birth control and that. So like I got to have one more shot, Miss Her. If you could just hit that and also give me these pills. Cause like I'm trying to live a life.
Oh, the good old days.
Was your shot in your butt? Because I got mine butt. Why did they do mine in my butt?
You might need to revisit that doctor, Callie, because no one ever asked to see my ass, and I just.
Why did they put the shot in my butt? That's weird. I don't know.
That is weird.
I might help you investigate this because I feel like it's wrong.
I don't trust it.
You need to contact some other clientele of this doctor and see if he's just a butt person.
Listen, because I got my first 2 in Kansas City, and then I had to get my 3rd one while we were like in rehearsal for something. We were probably all in this, so it's probably a black box situation.
Yeah.
Probably.
We lived in the black box. So I probably like, I gotta go get dinner, and people were like, me? And I was like, stab me.
Oh, yes. Yeah, can you like get a shot to like keep the demons away? Like, is there a cure to this STD, or are you just gonna die?
I think it's one of those.
I think
you can't cure.
If I got this demon curse STI, I think I would just give up. Probably just be like, I'm tired.
Right.
I'd be like the girl on the beach calling my parents, calling them like, "Hey, Sharai, you got me."
Also, that reminds me, her friends are ride or dies because like they're out here getting shot for her, they're out here getting kicked across by imaginary beings. I would have left.
Shooting.
I love you both. If you call me, you're like, I got demons. I'm like, disconnect. I'm hoping the best for you. No, thoughts and prayers. This is America. I can't help. Like,
when she's shooting on the beach and that dude's like, "Stop shooting!"
Oh my God, no, when her friend catches a stray at the swimming pool because Paul can't aim. And I'm like, Paul, clearly this is not the moment.
I know. I felt like a dick because I laughed when he shot her. And I was just like, you guys quit it with the gun. Quit it.
The gun didn't work to begin with. So we've learned nothing. We're going to shoot our friends down. Because also, I wouldn't have been there. So I laughed. Because I'm like, first off, why were you there, girl? Secondly,
and also you've already shot the demon in the neck. And it just got right back up, changed forms, and kept going. So you think this, but then this time it shot, and she saw blood in the water.
Yeah, I was wondering what that really meant, or what, because that was an interesting image, right? Like the blood just like completely takes over the entire pool. Like maybe it didn't have to have a meaning, but I was like, weird. No. And there's so much water in the entire movie. Like she's in the pool at the beginning. They're like at the lake. They're in the big pool gymnasium type thing. Like she also swims in the water. Like those guys are on the boat and she like swims in the water. Like, she's making out with Paul and he's getting the curse and there's like, it's like raining outside. And it's just, I was like, obviously water's like emotions and it's like sex and all that stuff. But I felt like the director, that had to have been intentional. Like,
and then the last scene as the Paul and the girl, I can't think of her name right now, but they're walking down the street holding hands. You see someone walking behind them.
Right, yeah.
Like, way far away. Now, that could just be a random person, but you know me, I'm like, that's the demon.
And I think that's the point, like, that the director's probably doing is like, all right, like, you don't know if this is, I mean, I think it was a demon, but it could have been a regular person. Who knows? And that's the thrill of it all.
I think it's a demon, and I think Paul's idea of giving it to a sex worker backfired because maybe after him, she was like, "I'm taking a weekend off," and the demons were like, "Surprise!"
Or maybe she thought that the demon was someone trying to come get some business. I don't know,
right? Or maybe the person that she passed it on to went home and then like died, and I mean, clearly was not going to call her to be like, "I saw something. Use my word." And so, Paul's plans are never foolproof, which is why he shot his friend and they're beyond by demons as it ends. And I need to stop trusting Paul. I know he's adorable. I know this actor is very adorable and lovable, but like his character is not together. So,
I don't know. I see something in the eyes that I don't trust with Paul.
He's very nice guy energy, like
right.
But I don't want the nice guys to like finish last. But I'm just
sometimes they need to.
I don't know, Paul. You're checking out Jay pretty hard. You're checking her out. We get it. Like you want to fuck her. Yeah.
The fact that he is watching her world implode by demons he can't see, and he's still like, "Can I get it though?"
Right?
For whomst.
For whomst. So many questions.
She's hot though, so I guess I get it. Like,
I mean, she is hot.
I don't know if she's worth dying over though, because like he was like, "Oh, you got demons, I do too now," and I'm like, "No, Paul, that's not romantic."
But you know what? If I were her though, I'd be the biggest slut ever. I'd be like, okay, you want? Let's go. Come on.
Listen,
let's
do it. You want demons? Here we go.
I think about who I was in my 20s without demons, and I know I would have been fine. I would have been fine.
Another question. Okay, so you got the demon curse. You have sex with someone to pass it on. They're still alive, but you have sex with someone else. Do they get the curse? And then what's the order of death?
I think as long as the person you pass it to is alive and kicking, it's with them until they pass it on. But also because it comes back to you, if that person dies, you have to like keep checking in on them, which is weird because we don't normally call ex people to be like, "Hey, how you doing? How you feeling?"
Hey, one night stand from 3 years ago. You still alive?
Right?
Oh, you're not? Okay, bye.
The amount of people I have to unblock on my Facebook to be like, "Hey, this is awkward. Are you alive?"
Yeah.
Are you seeing demons? Are
Right?
naked people following you?
Are they coming for you? The tall man specifically, he's the one that's scariest for me.
He is that scene where he comes out from behind her. Ooh, every time.
It gave me all of the adrenaline, like when I was a kid and played Crash Bandicoot and the boulder was coming after him and you were just running. That's what it felt like. Because her friend is like, "There's nobody out here." And he's like,
"Here I am."
And she's like, "Out the window." Out the fucking window. And I'm like, "Yes, Jay, run. Go, girl, go." She's like on a bicycle, like, "No." No.
Yeah, it's also weird if she's in college and doesn't like. I don't. Maybe they're supposed to be ageless too.
Maybe
like bicycle reads like high school to me.
Right.
I don't think it was her bike. I think it was in her driveway. Like one of her friends rode it over, and she was like, "I'm taking the first wheels."
Because she also steals that dude's car. She's
Yeah,
like, "Gotta go."
I think she doesn't have a car, and
As far as Final Girls go, I love Jay's survival instinct because one of the things I'm always knocking is how some of the Final Girls are like, "Oh no, it's come for me. Let me just sit here and cry."
Right.
Tears aren't gonna fight off Michael Myers. Like you need to be an active participant. You need to be like, "I'm choosing to live."
Yeah. I think that's like why this movie is so great is because like the instincts that she has. And like, or how the writer director wrote it in is like, she's pretty smart. Like she's like kind of, and also like, you know, like how she's like, I don't know, like, I don't want to pass this on. Like, let's defeat it. And it's like, crap, we can't defeat it. Now I have to pass it on. Like, I feel like she's making very realistic choices in like how she's pursuing this. And and again, that's why I love her so much as an actress is because I feel connected to how she's experiencing this situation. I'm like, yes, like I really identify with like, hopefully I would be that great to.
I'd be passing it on every chance I got.
I'd clam up. Let's be honest.
Listen, I respect that she wants to end it because that is definitely like a hero complex. And I would love to pretend to be that person, but I'm not. I'd be like, the rules are what?
Yeah.
And I would be out. And I would be like, you got it. Everybody gets a demon.
And I feel like there's a lot of moments where she is like having a panic attack, where she's like freezing up and she's like fighting the like fight or flight mode, you know, like she is responding to the scariness of the situation in an honest way of like, you know, she's like curled up like in her room, like she's just frozen with fear. Yeah, or she's like getting on the bike and like running out the door, you know? So I think that's cool that that's in the movie.
She's one of my favorite Final Girls just because I understand her logic. And a lot of Final Girls just don't have the logic because they're just like, "Oh no, I'm not hiding in this blatant place and wait for it to come find me." And I'm like, no, that's not the game we're going to play. She's like, "I am running. Are these wheels? Can I move them? I'm leaving." She drives out with her friends. And I'm like, yes, that is the energy I want in a Final Girl. Because her friends are like, "Come back for us." She's like, "Fuck y'all. There's a demon with you. Y'all are fine. I'm not. Find me later." What?
I agree. She's like, "I'm out of here. I'm pulling a whippy. I'm like doing it."
So then she wrecks in the corner of him, like, "Girl, eyes on the road."
But also, she was like, "The demon's not in the car with me, right?" Because she's still figuring out how they work. And so I would also turn around for a minute to be like, "Am I good?"
Right.
Before I'm like,
that's true.
gone. No,
All right.
she's one of the favorites. I don't think we talk about her enough. I think
She's
that
good.
I feel like her and like Sydney from Scream are playing in the same world of we're gonna make good decisions and see what happens.
Right. So good.
Yeah, I agree.
Good.
Any more notes before we get to hot takes? All right. Callie, what's your hot take?
Like, I mean, I know we addressed this of like, can't you still pass it if you wear a condom? But like, safe sex all around is like
Everyone listening out there,
like really
hashtag safe sex.
especially
Right.
as like young adults. You know, you think it can't get you. You really think it can't, and then it does, and you're like, well, shit, I did this to myself.
Especially in today's day and age with the Supreme Court with all their bullshit.
Right. I mean, hey, yeah, all the stuff that's going on in the world. And then yeah, I mean, I really like the what I kind of talked about at the beginning of like the sexually transmitted curse is the awareness of death. Where I'm like, that's just a really deep thing, and yeah, I'm like very aware of my own mortality now after watching that.
Both times I saw this movie, it made me think of that chart they show you where it's like when you sleep with this one person, you sleep with all the people they slept with and all the people they slept with. And I was like, ugh. But now when I see it in this way, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. I'm like, well, shit. Yep. Okay.
Can you imagine all of the exes of the exes of the exes coming and just like appearing to you in your home, at the beach, in the hospital?
Grabbing your hair.
Honestly, that's a nightmare. That's a true nightmare.
Right.
Yeah, we've all made. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I've made some pretty bad choices.
Same. Sign me up.
Listen,
I think if you're a living human, you make some bad choices.
I think so too. I think so.
all of us spent enough time in Missouri to know we've made some choices.
We all went to UCM. We're aware.
No, it's like a game of Guess Who. It's just like, oh no, you too? Oh no. Why did they give him a car when he was 16?
Going off Callie's hot take, my hot take, since we don't know that the condom can save you, straight people just need to stop having sex.
Right.
Everyone just needs to be gay. It's fine. Just make the choice.
In the reveal party. I'm just like, you know what? Take it from us. Clearly, we're not doing the right things.
We're burning half of California for a damn gender reveal party.
Listen, it's like you couldn't just have a pink cake in your home. You had to involve all of California. All of California needed to know.
Mad. It's like California's just burning all the time. Like it's
True.
All the time. Because influencers are like, we're happy. We're having a baby. Guess what? It's a boy. Oh no. There goes that neighborhood. My hot take, which I sort of brought up earlier, is that the only reason I want a sequel, because I think that this is a fine movie on its own, but the only reason I really want a sequel is so we can see this world not be aggressively white and hetero.
Love it.
Yeah.
I agree, but I'm also okay with it staying straight because I'm like, that's on y'all.
I will say it's one of the few movies where, because I'm always like, where are the black people? Where are the brown people? But also, these are very white people problems. Because I know that if like I said, I love you both. If one of you calls me and you're like, I put this in Demons last night, I'd be like, you got the wrong number.
You got the wrong
number. I will be eulogizing to you. I'd be like, you were so lovely. I loved your laugh. Lose this number. I'll think of the good times.
I'll see you in the afterlife, whatever that might be.
Right? Like, I hope
I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad at that.
No,
I would expect you to do the same.
Respect.
Like literally, if I call you tonight, come, I picked up Demons, and you'd be like, I don't know you.
I like how honest you are about this, because I feel like I'm like, oh yes, I would definitely like kick their ass, and I'm like, nope, I would be hiding. I would be making all the wrong choices.
Yeah.
Right? No, look, we're not out here catching strays because people got demons. Like, clearly you made some choices.
I know. I just wouldn't call Sharai until I'm on the beach, just waiting to die. I'm like, Sharai, girl, it got me.
And I'd be like, leave a voicemail.
Yep. You hear the waves behind me. Gotta go back.
I don't want the demon to know you called me in case it's got a problem with me. Like, these friends are very close apparently, because I literally no, just no.
Well, I will say again, the special effects on that beach scene when he hits it with the the chair or whatever, and then gets thrown. But you don't like it's if it's CGI, it's really good fucking CGI.
It holds up. It really does hold up.
Yeah. And the hair, the special effects are really cool. The blood in the water that no one sees, him dragging her in the water.
The hair moment specifically, because I know how I react when I see the people playing in my hair, so I can only imagine if I couldn't see the person playing in my hair.
At first she's like, what is...
No. I'd be like, not ghost Karens. Not ghost Karens. No. Yeet me from the planet. I will not be haunted by Karens.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. All right, everyone. That is our thoughts on It Follows. Thank you, Callie, so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And happy Mother's Day.
Yes. To those celebrating.
And don't become one.
Because you might get a demon instead. Or you might get both, which would be the worst case scenario.
This is the perfect movie for this kind of holiday.
I know.
Hallmark's not telling you all there is to know, y'all. Watch It Follows.
Incredible.
All right, everyone. We'll be back at 3 o'clock Central Time covering the Korean film Gunjayam, Haunted Asylum. And I get terrified with haunting, so I'm glad this isn't our last movie of the night. Yeah, I'm excited for you to see it, Trent. I'm gonna call you say, Sharai, I ran away. I don't know where I'm at.
You're gonna be like, I got demons. I'm like, click. The next stream y'all just be me being like, Trent got demons, y'all. It's a one-person show now.
Sharai, I experimented with heteroness and I got a demon.
Oh shit!
I can tell you doesn't have the way, Trent. I suffered for all of us.
That would be my luck. The one time I'm like, I'm drunk. Let's see what happens. I get a fucking demon.
I'm like, first off, what were you drinking? You know, you had tequila anymore. Why are you playing with tequila?
And now you're running, so you can't ever drink again because you're always on the run. You can't drive. You got to be able to drive and walk in a straight line.
Listen, that's my other thing. I don't exercise enough to be chased by demons. So I just need us to all I never touch it. Because I would be like, oh no, I got picked up because the lift didn't show up. The demon was here.
All right. Well, on that note, I got to go watch this movie. So thank you, Callie. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone watching out there and listening on the podcast. And as always, make sure you stay fierce out there.
Bye.
Bye.